Hello, I am making this video in regards to dreams. I will be presenting and discussing um, some of my dreams. Dreams that I have had through the years that I think they're most significant, and they have really showed me to understand and in such of a profound way or more complete way of the things that I'm going through in my life. Um, this is my internal dialogue that I have. Um, Dreams are very particular to each individual based on their belief systems, based on their backgrounds, based on their personality, based on the totality of the persona of who we are. So dreams are very particular to each individual. Dreams are not universal to say, I grab a dictionary, which there are, or you can see them on the internet. Oh, I dreamt with a bear. Okay, so bear means this or that. In reality, bears have a significant difference between cultures, between persons, right? Um, Particular to each circumstance and scenarios and situations. Um, to say that, continuing with the example of the bear, if I had a traumatic experience with a bear literally in my life and I dream with one, to me it will be a very special significance about dreaming with bears. For example, I constantly dream about, in my younger years, I would constantly dream about ocean, the ocean being overwhelming, waves. They were terrifying to me. And this was my way of expressing my fear of life, my challenges and circumstances. And I have to say that a lot of the times when I had these particular dreams, because they were constant, they had a pattern. And every time they showed up, those dreams with the waves, I knew that there would be problems coming ahead, there would be challenges that will be overwhelming at times. So I began to make that note and the realization of heads up, something is coming. And they were not always like predicting, what it was coming. I think, and it's really not a prediction of the future. What it is that the subconscious is aware of information that the conscious mind is not aware of. The subconscious is grabbing all of the information and is so much ahead of what you and or I are aware of in our waking life, because life is complex and we need our awareness to be present here and now to deal with things that need to be dealt with, taking decisions and going to work and driving and cleaning and taking care of our children, whatever it is. So our attention is very much focused, as it is required and it is meant for, to be present in the moment. In the meantime, the subconscious behind is grabbing all of the rest of the information that is happening and can see all the patterns. And it's not really a prediction in the sense that it is like a clairvoyant way. It's simply analyzing and seeing reality and being able to anticipate or predict what it will happen. But that said, dreams are also rich in information that we, like stated before, we're not aware of, that we're not conscious about, because our awareness is somewhere else. It is occupied in other things. And the subconscious is communicating constantly all of the information, the vast information that possesses. and it is accessible, and its way to communicate it, the only time frame or the time window frame that it has to communicate it to the conscious awareness of us is through dreams. This is a very important aspect of ourselves that we should be more in tune about it, and that we are not. We have lost um, cultures, ancient cultures, and I'm sure everyone has watched, documentaries or read books about the importance of dreams for some cultures, and even decisions were made based on dreams. Um, for instance, we have the Bible, in which the communication from God to his servants, to its prophets, a lot of it was through the dreams. A lot of visions were while they were dreaming. Um, a lot of symbolism and battles, spiritual battles they had were in dreams. The importance of dreams are tremendous. I will say, like, there's books written about it now, because of the information that we can we have access to, and we can understand and we can learn the language of our dreams, especially our individual particular dreams, because they're very unique. They vary from person to person. Like I said, it's not like you can grab a book and say for sure this is the definition of the symbolism that everyone's dreams it is about. It is impossible. Every person is unique. Every person has an individual story that shapes and forms the meaning and the symbolism on their dreams. With that said, and they're getting to understand that it requires attention, first of all. Put your attention and your awareness to your dreams. Begin to understand by beginning to immediately when you wake up, have a pen and a pencil, give it 3 minutes. That's good. Write down whatever you remember. Some dreams I've heard people say, I detail a dream and it's elaborate and it's great. It's rich, and symbolism and activity. And but most of the times when people wake up, they're like, I don't remember my dreams. And sometimes it's like they don't want to even venture in it because it doesn't make sense, right? Because we don't understand what it means. Like, these are just gibberish, like imagery that we had that makes no sense. So it's like, it's not even worthy of saying it, right? Or wasting my time and thinking about it because it has no meaning. There's no shape and form to it. I think that's the biggest problem with that, following up with it. But because I have had, like, of course, I have woken up in times where I don't really remember basically a lot of the dreams. I know I was dreaming quite a bit, but I don't remember details. Like, they're gone, especially if I'm preoccupied about any other thing, right? And so this way of simply capturing key information, like a bridge. I know there was water. I know there was a road. I know there was a person. I know I saw a flower. Whatever it is that you remember, just simply write it down and just write down the highlights, the details like that. Sometimes what it will happen is that I start my day, and sometimes having lunch or later on in the day, or sometimes even a couple of days after, I am doing something in which I see a flower that immediately it comes to my mind the memory of that dream, and then I recollect it in more detail. So I pick up more details of the dream, or simply details of the dream kind of shed off through the day. us to revealing a little bit more of the memories of what happened. And then I remember a scenario of the dream, and I write it down. And I write it down because um, so the first step is to have the awareness, is to put like light on that aspect of yourself, because it's really those dreams are coming from you, like they're in your mind, they're in your psyche. This is not something that is external. So putting that light on you, and getting to learn it, and getting putting the attention to it, it starts to build on. And soon after that, you will begin to have more elaborate, more complex dreams. Once you begin to have that, like, your subconscious then starts to feed you more, because it's realizing, you're getting it, you're dreaming on about it, you're more, or sometimes those repetitive dreams that we have, um, that we don't understand, but once we do, once we get it, once we know the message, then they're gone, then they stop. They don't they don't present themselves like that anymore, because we got the message, because what it wanted to be transferred to or communicate to you, it has been understood. That was the purpose of it. um, Stages of our life, when there is some things that we're struggling with, challenges. Doesn't matter where they are, whether it is work, whether it's related, or whether it's, learning, studying, whether it's relationships. Doesn't matter what the challenge is, but stages that we are on that uh, difficulty, on that challenge, those will be also be reflected symbolically on dreams. Um, and this is something very important to learn, to to get to understand where we are, because this is part of ourselves, which I see an issue, because I lived it, that we do not know ourselves. We do not know, understand ourselves. And we end up doing sometimes so many things in ways that we don't understand the buffaloes, even how we got to react certain things in certain ways, right? Um, anyway, without going too much into that uh, road, I want to keep on the dreams. So there's such a vast um, information that can be accessed through dreams. There's so much we can learn about ourselves. And the thing is that dreams do not lie. That's 100% certain. And I can tell you, and I can give you information about where you can corroborate. I'm not the one saying that. There is plenty of information in which they can confirm, or can confirm you, that dreams do not lie. There is no lie in the subconscious. And I can say that because I do hypnosis. And once we are working with subconscious, or with distracting or putting aside the awareness, the conscious mind, there is no lie. There's simply honesty. Um, with that said, the dreams that we have through our subconscious work in the same way. You do not lie. Your subconscious does not lie. So whatever is coming through, whatever is showing up in symbols and imagery, is a 100% truth, is your essence speaking and giving, shedding information that absolutely will say 100% is relevant for anyone, whether, some people are not interested in learning about themselves or diving in or getting to think about anything, and that's fair. Like, they have their life and they're quite content on focusing completely outside and just closing the door of what's happening in. That's fair for as long as you're able to do it. It doesn't take long. And that door will be, if you don't open it, it will be smashed open for you. It always does. Unfortunately, it always shows in ways that we do not like, that are very uncomfortable. So the subconscious has a way to communicate. The first is dreams. So dreams would show you and give you a lot of information you need to know, and you need to know it. And your subconscious, it will tell you that. The urgency of it, you will see it manifest in your dreams. Other ways that we communicate, or the subconscious communicate with us, is through what we call intuition. Is how our body reacts to situations, to people. Call that the hunch. Or I had this feeling about, or funny feeling about whatever. That is your subconscious speaking. When people are in situations in which they feel threat, and it doesn't matter in what way, but there is a threat there, and your body most of always, not almost, always reacts way before the brain or the awareness or the conscious ego is aware of anything, because the conscious awareness or the ego is focusing or whatever else, distracted by other things, but the subconscious is catching and grasping way more information than the something is just out of line here and you're in danger and you need to flee. Is that, and your subconscious is the one that triggers that fight or flight part of you. So your body starts reacting, you start getting anxious, you start feeling your hair and your skin, or what, just that anxiety. You need to go, urgencies, whatever it is, and however your body starts to manifest that, your subconscious is triggering it, is completely without your awareness, your ego awareness. That is happening out of your control, the same way that everything in your body happens outside of your control, because you're not consciously aware, or your ego is not aware of your digestion, what steps and what's happening inside. It's all done by the subconscious. Your ego is not aware of how many times you breathe or your rhythm, or that's all the subconscious. And everything else that is happening, how your body's fighting bacteria and viruses constantly, all of that, or even more etheric. Like, let's think about growing a baby inside of you as a woman, as a female. All of that is done subconsciously. It is not under the awareness. We can have information, we can understand certain things of what's happening because of science, because we're have that information now, but really all of that is happening under the subconscious domain. So this brings me to, I will share my dream that I had, and I had a while ago, I would say 5 years ago. I will relate the dream first, and then I will elaborate with it. So I am dreaming that I am flying. Typical dream. Many of people have had it. And it has its own particular means to each individual. And there is also general connotations to that dream, right? Just general. So I'm flying. And this is very high altitude. I will say it's about cloud level, about where airplanes fly. So it's quite high up. That makes a difference. That also has a meaning. So I am flying very content, very peacefully, just such a serene, just wonderful feeling of me just flying and looking around at the sky, and total peace. And suddenly, after a while that I am just traveling at a very comfortable speed, very comfortably, I'm not cold, I'm not hot, it's nothing, it's just perfect. Suddenly, this sky begins to change. So it begins to go darker. So there's darker clouds in which, like, okay, there's storm ahead, and then the storm is right in front of me. Then the wind starts picking up, and then there's the clouds are very dark. So my immediate, you know, then I'm aware of what's happening, of course, because now I'm feeling it. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to go back north. So I then realized, obviously, that I was flying south. And as I'm flying south and this is happening, the storm, hitting the storm or entering into the storm, I turn back to north and I will myself to go back north to fly back. And I see myself fly back to that calm, although it's not anymore as calm as it was before. And that dream stuck with me. I do have a journal and write my dreams. Um, Sometimes not every single day, sometimes not always. Um, but they're very significant dreams that I have. And like I said, they have become more and more rich and more involved with information because I pay attention to them and because I get to understand them. Not always I understand them like this one. I understand some of it and I leave it, right? Because, like I said, there is no book that I can go to the library and pick and said where I can read, you know, the dreams, that meaning of dreams particular to Cecilia and what they mean to Cecilia. These are dreams that are very personal and individual to me, and I have to learn my own language in order to understand me. Um, anyway, so 5 years passed. So this dream has been, had a long time ago, a while ago. So I was walking by the river, and I was meditating on another dream that I had the night before, and this happened last week, Thursday. Yes, Thursday last week, anyhow. So I am walking by the river and I'm meditating on this other dream. In the meantime, the dream that I had, when this is why I'm sharing this with you, the dream about flying and returning to the north, I got to understand more the meaning of it because I was in a situation in very drastic, very dramatic, very black and white. I have had a difficulty with hypnosis, with practicing in a way that I was taught, and kind of like the rhetoric or the mentality, the ideas that was behind it, behind the hypnosis technique that I was practicing or that I studied for. I did not agree with them. And this is something that has held me back for a long time to actually practice it fully. And because it didn't agree with my core for who I am. And I had a challenge with that. And I didn't know how to approach it. I didn't know how to express it and how to change it. Um, and it's tied to other things as well, other questions that I had and other very important topics. So it's all tied together. Anyway, this was bothering me. And as I am trying to build, putting it together, putting this, setting up my practice in more of a formal setup to the public, um, I was having problems with it. It was a toil inside of me. And at the same time, I was having problems with my hips. I was having these pain that will come and go. And it was so annoying because I wasn't able to walk, basically. So it comes to a moment in which, through my meditations and through my, inner dialogue that I constantly do, I came up with the solution. I finally was able to switch and to realize what I needed to do and how to go about it. The next day to now, from last week until now, that pain is gone, no longer there, because I don't need it anymore. This is another way that the subconscious works, in which through dreams doesn't work, you're not getting the message. Okay, we will go more literally. So the subconscious begins to manifest itself and the body to grow your attention. Why the hips? Because I wasn't able to move. I wasn't able to give the step to walk, not literally. It was uncomfortable, but it was holding me back. So even going for walks to the river, I did it with some challenge, because not challenge, but it's discomfort. And the challenge was I wasn't able to enjoy it the way I wanted to enjoy my walk. So the overall message was you are not moving forward, or it's very uncomfortable. Why? Because I have this toil inside me. There's something that I need to resolve first before I move forward. So, in other words, I was not being coherent with myself. I wasn't being truthful. And not because I was being dishonest, it's just because I needed to resolve something first within me in order to put it outside, in order to move forward, in order to have the basis to grow something. So that realization, I was thinking about. And then suddenly, while I was walking and thinking about all of this dream about me going south, and as I was flying, came back to my mind. And obviously came back to my mind because my subconscious put it back on my mind, right? Brought it back. It's like, here you go. This is the dream and this is what it meant. And not only for this time, but it's in general, like a teaching moment, very much, and the meaning was that this is symbolically and metaphorically put. Okay, so bear with me in that sense. Me dwelling on the north, which the north, I familiarize it with the body. So the north will be the upper part of our body, meaning the head. So the north is the head. Where the head is the mind, is you know, the mind, the brain, the ego. So logic, structure, the way we think, reality, and so on and so forth is on the north part. So it's on the head, it's on the brain, it's where the ego dwells. It's where the ego projects, it's where the ego relates to the outside world, and that interaction that happens. So the north is the ego awareness, conscious awareness. And what is the south? The south is the rest of the body. And the rest of the body, even though obviously is connected, it is working with the head, but it's not really in control of the brain, of the head. It is and it isn't. It is in control because it's all working harmoniously. But like I stated before, you're not aware of how you're digesting. And when you're digesting, and when your digestion passes from one part of your intestines to the next, and the steps, you're not aware of how you're growing, how your bones are growing. You're not aware of how your atoms, and how your cells are shedding, are dying, and new ones are coming in. You're not aware of so many things that are happening in your body. That is your subconscious domain. That is the South, which means the subconscious. So in that moment, I understood that that dialogue that we have uh, with the subconscious, with through our dreams, it does not happen or it doesn't end with the dreams alone. It is there, it is always, and it's constant and it's present. And we don't have to fear it, right? Like I did in my dreams. To me, it was chaos. Chaos, not because it is wrong, it's bad, it's scary, it's dangerous. Chaos because I don't understand it. But that's easy to be fixed. We have to put our awareness and put light into it, put our presence into it in order to understand ourselves. And it's not chaotic, it has a rhythm, it has a way, and it has a system. It works perfectly and it's established, just like everything that is on this earth, meaning nature wise, works perfectly. The storm, even so chaotic as it feels or may be, it has its meaning and its purpose and it's needed. And it's not chaotic at all, it's quite logical, and it has a pattern and it's following a pattern, just like everything else. It's just our perception. So, in short, long story to explain such a simple thing, but I think in general terms, that is the subconscious. It is presented in such a simple things, in such a simple ways. It is so profound, and you can learn so much of it. You go so much in depth, really, that you can learn from you what is dwells inside of you. And I can see that. I can see that in the sessions that I have, and people, how they, um, the imagery it represents or manifests for them. Um, this is something that I love to do. And I don't think it is only, particular to having a session of hypnosis, but also in dreaming. You can continue that understanding and the imagery that happens under hypnosis the same way that happens when you're dreaming with your dreams, just a different way of communicating, right? It's different states of awareness. Because when you are in hypnosis, under hypnosis, you are under you have in such a state of mind very similar to when you're dreaming, but you are actually communicating with me at the moment. So I keep that awareness enough that it structures and makes more sense. When you're dreaming, you're not interacting with anyone, of course, but with your subconscious. It's just your subconscious pouring out all of this imagery. And like I said, it is a language, it's a way of communicating, and it's rich. It is so much, information. It's a fountain of information you can have from. Believe me, I have books that I've with journals that I have written about my dreams because they're rich and they teach me so much about me. And we're humans and we share so much so much that we have in common, like Jung, Carl Gustav Jung, my favorite psychiatrist, which I read a lot about him, and I have it has helped me to understand my dreams and the approach that I have taken for my dreams. I have got a lot of information from Carl Jung. I incite anyone to who's interested in reading, although it takes time to learn it, but it is worth it. Uh, Without extending more this video, I hope it inspires you to pay more attention to your dreams, write them down. Please feel free to comment or to share dreams. If you're like to share with me, I have my email address. If you want to shoot me an email or a text or a message, however, or just make a comment. Let me know if there's something you are interested about learning about your own personal dream, something that really has you puzzled and you would like to have a dialogue about it. I actually enjoy it. So leave a comment. Thanks.